Welcome to the lineup. I'm Rick Goff. I'm your host for this evening, and joining us today are brothers Adam and JJ Bleday. Adam is the current minor league pitching coach in the Baltimore Orioles organization, and JJ is the outfielder for the Miami Marlins. I almost did it again,
There you
right?
go.
For the Miami Marlins. Guys, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Rick.
What we're going to do, guys, is we're going to talk a little bit about your experiences from youth baseball all the way into high school, into college, and on into your pro career and beyond for you, Adam, as you have stepped aside now and started being a pitching coach in the Baltimore Orioles organization. So let's start off going back to those younger days when you guys were playing youth baseball. Adam, I'll start with you. And what's some of those memories that you remember from back in those days playing youth baseball?
What comes to mind with youth baseball is just traveling around the East Coast of the country when I was younger, and playing against some of the best competition in the country also. And I thought it was just a great experience overall. First off, having the opportunity to play in front of college coaches with good players all around me, and then just some of the memories that you share at the hotels and going out to eat with some of your friends when you're younger. I think it's just a lot of fun to be able to play baseball at a very high level like that.
Those memories last forever, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. And I still think about it all the time. I definitely want to get my kid into it someday if I have the chance to.
JJ, what about you? Go back to those younger days, 10, 11, 12 years old, and what do you remember most about those days?
Man, I just remember like the hotels, getting together in the hotels with all the families. The dads are doing one thing, the moms are doing something else by the pool. And man, baseball was just so fun and pure. And just having those relationships to, learn the game of baseball and to kind of like socialize at the same time. It's just it was a great experience, and I'm glad we did that. It was just it was just a really good starting point.
Now, you guys are originally from a small town in Pennsylvania, and there probably wasn't too many opportunities for you to play competition in that area. You guys had to travel around a lot, right, JJ?
Yeah, we did. That was one of the main reasons why we did the travel baseball. When you're kind of stuck inside for 6 months out of the year up in Northwest Pennsylvania, kind of in the middle of nowhere, the competition just isn't there. So you gotta go places, and you gotta spend a little money to kind of get some quality competition and to get in some good tournaments to kind of help develop yourself.
Now, Adam, a lot of people say today that, why play travel baseball? Why spend all that money in playing travel baseball when you can just play local in your hometown and play rec league and do all of that? But Adam, do you think that type of baseball gets you prepared to play even in high school or even in college?
I think some programs out there have it set up to where there's good competition in the area from a recreational standpoint. But like JJ was saying, in our case, we come from a town of 10,000 people in Northwest Pennsylvania. So we had to travel south to Pittsburgh, which was about an hour and a half, 2 hour trip to practice. And we had to kind of go outside the box a little bit just to get to the high quality competition. So yes, it was worth it in our case. It may not be for everyone, especially if you're coming from a larger city where the recreational leagues are, well organized and everything like that. But, just having the parents that we had to be able to sacrifice their time to take us to practice once, twice a week, which was 4 hours round trip sometimes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And ultimately, yes, it was worth it for us. And just to be able to play with good competition, the good competition attracts college coaches. And a lot of that takes care of itself. Once you get in front of those coaches, they get to see you play. So yeah, it definitely made it worth it because we got scholarships to play. And I think travel ball was just a blessing for us.
Well, JJ, let's get forward to the colleges that Adam are talking about. Do you remember when colleges started showing an interest in you?
Yeah, I'd say colleges started showing like a more, sit down, like an unofficial approach, probably come my freshman year of high school. I'd done camps up to that point, but it wasn't anything, it was just kind of like to hear people out, keep getting some more information from coaches. I think Penn State, was really interested in like some local colleges within Pennsylvania. But I think it started to progress come like sophomore year after a freshman summer travel baseball happened. You get all these tournaments, all these events, and it really benefits you along with kind of sitting down with your parents and kind of making a list of, all right, what colleges are ideal and which ones can I actually get into or do you want to go to? And once you can kind of narrow that down and go to their camps and then go out and perform in some showcases or events or even just TravelBall tournaments, that's going to lead to that ability to kind of keep those relationships going and then eventually hopefully get a scholarship.
Adam, what about you? When did the colleges start showing interest in you?
I was a little later. I got my scholarship to Virginia my junior summer going into my senior year. And I think I was like second to last to commit in my class. Whereas JJ, he had been committed verbally, I think by 10th grade, right, JJ?
Yeah, sophomore fall, I think like November-ish.
Yeah. So I was a little later on that front, but it's different for everyone. And
so a safe message for you guys. A safe message for you guys is JJ, you were a sophomore, Adam, you were junior going into a senior. There's no reason for parents or even kids for that matter to panic because I mean their offers will be there eventually one way or another. Is that a pretty safe statement?
I would say so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've known some guys who, they're some of the best players I've ever seen, and they don't commit till they're the last second. It's just like everyone's different, but the opportunity and colleges need players one way or another.
JJ, this next question is for you. What's your and we'll be brief on this one because it wasn't on the list of questions that I gave you guys, but what's your thoughts on kids committing in the 7th and 8th grade?
For me personally, I think that's a little too early because for one, it kind of, it's just early, like you're a very young kid, like you're going to change, your mind's going to change. Let me stop you right there.
Let me stop you right there. How much did you personally change from 8th grade to your senior year in high school?
Quite a bit. I think both physically, the main one was physically, but then, mentally, I'd say it was the same because, I was still I committed when I was in Pennsylvania and then I moved down to Florida. So I was in two different high schools, kind of a different story.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, I mean, good. Repeat that one more time. Just what do you mean by what was the?
Well, because of these kids committing in 7th and 8th grade, my personal feeling on it is by the time they get to high school, they're a whole different person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Physically, like you said, big physical difference with you, but also, mentally is a totally different person.
Yeah. Like you're going to have different friends, different interests and different ideas of what you think, what kind of school you want to be going to. And, 7th and 8th grade, that's just, and that could even be counterproductive. That could ruin your drive as a player. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I made it. When in fact, you haven't even stepped foot on campus. So I've seen that happen a lot with guys. They're the first guy to commit, they got all the gear, they're walking around school, they think they're sweet. But once they get on campus, man, they're leaving that after that first fall because everyone's out competing them. So, I mean, for me personally, it's kind of extended as long as you can in order to make the right decision for yourself and your family. There is no rush to doing that. I mean, I'm sure Adam can elaborate on it as well.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on it, Adam?
I think 7th and 8th grade is pretty early from a baseball perspective. But, what I would urge players is to don't fall in love with their first visit or when they flash the 20 different uniform combinations. And, that can be, you can kind of chomp at the bit a little early when you see all that good stuff. But what it really boils down to is where's the best fit for you, and usually that happens when you connect with the coach who's there. And they might promise you playing time. That doesn't really matter. It's always going to be, you have to compete for that position, because there's guys who have been at college, at that same college you might be going to, that are 2-3 years into their career there, that
Right.
they want to earn that starting position just as much as the freshman does.
So what is, and we'll start with you since we've got you here right here now, Adam, describe just in general terms, what's the biggest difference between youth baseball and high school baseball, and then go to college? And we'll hold off on the pro for now, but just talk about those three: youth to high school to pro, or to college, I mean.
So youth baseball to high school, like in our case, I would say was maybe a little step back, because we were used to playing with MSA, Michigan Crush, and we're going to these big time tournaments facing some of the best pitchers who end up pitching in the SEC or at ACC.
Yeah.
And high school came around, it was similar to rec a little bit, but the stats count. So, everybody's kind of watching that. And by that time you're in high school. So, things start to matter a little more, I would say. Once college rolled around, it was, you really have to structure your days out, because not only are you a student, but you're an athlete as well. And being an athlete in college is almost like having a full-time job. So the time management and balance of your day-to-day, it has to be nails. And that's the only way to really get into a good routine in order to develop your skills, do good academically. And so I would say that was probably the biggest jump, biggest eye opener. You're doing your conditioning and mini season in the fall of college. So it's a little more grueling time just to get in shape. But once the spring rolls around, it's time to play. So that's more or less the fun part. And
quick answer before we get to JJ's take on that. How much free time in college did you have?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot, right?
Not a whole lot. And
yeah, that's what I hear from everybody.
Yeah. And, you still hang out with your friends, you go to eat with them, and that's the time to kind of do your hanging out. But, yeah, it's good to get ahead on the weekends with your schoolwork. And, I was like 50-50 with that. So,
all right, JJ, let's hear your take on it. Youth ball to high school to college.
Yeah, youth baseball was, kind of less structure. You get to high school, it's a little bit more structured, and like Adam said, the stats count. You're earning a spot, but it's not like as competitive as college. College is very structured, in terms of the way the team organizes the day, the practice, the schedule. You're finally put on a routine, and you got to structure your whole day around that routine. The time you got to get to the field, when you got to study. Like Adam said, it's pretty much like a full-time job being a student athlete. And that was the main thing, is when you're, you get to these positions to where, you got 3 to 4 guys who want to earn that spot. It's kind of a little different pressure, I guess you could say, that you've probably never experienced, from going from youth to high school to college. It's a little bit more of like a real world feel, to where it's like, hey, these coaches have to earn a living, and they gotta win games, and they're gonna do their best to put the best product out there. So yeah, I'd say it's a little bit more kind of business oriented in that way. But yeah, so more structure.
Take the next step then, JJ, we'll stay with you. Take the next step then, going to pro. What's the difference between college and pro?
The difference between college and pro is you're pretty much just on your own in professional baseball. You're a pro. I mean, you're expected to show up on time, to work hard, and to go out and to perform to the best of your abilities, regardless of what happenings off field, how you feel, where you're traveling, all of that. That's all put aside, and it's a little bit more business oriented and way more competitive. You're facing the best guys in the world. So think of college. Not many players can play in college baseball. That gets narrowed, especially SEC or ACC or D1 baseball, and then try magnifying that down a little bit, way more to professional baseball. You're facing better talent on a daily basis, and it's relentless. Someone's coming for your throat every day.
Adam, let's go to you with the next part of this, is social media. Social media is a huge factor in today's game. What's some advice for some of these younger kids? I mean, there's kids out there that are 10, 11, 12 years old. They have their own Instagram, they have their own Twitter, they have their own Facebook. I mean, they have all of this stuff. And I just fear that some of these younger players are making some huge mistakes when it comes to social media. What did you have to deal with that, Adam, coming up as much? And what's some advice for some of those younger players with social media?
Yeah, I would say I dealt with it a little bit. I mean, I had Instagram and stuff like that. TikTok wasn't around then, but it's definitely, you don't want to put anything out there that you wouldn't want others to see. So, maybe a family picture here and there, but
yeah, but that's hard when you're talking about a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, it's very hard, and you really don't even realize it until you're 15, 16, 17, 18, and it's like,
I agree.
I shouldn't have put that out there. And I just think less is more in that case. So it might seem meaningful in the short run, but in the long run, nobody really cares about your social media, what you did on National Best Friends Day or something like that, just for an example. But yeah, I think it can kind of almost like get them out of their focus too, where you're spending hours a day on your phone looking at video, all of this. It's super addicting also, and that's been proven. So as long as you can keep your focus on baseball and developing athletics, whatever it may be, social media shouldn't really play a factor. And I would encourage others to just kind of put the phone down and pick up a book.
Some good advice right there.
Yeah.
Probably more people need to do that. Put down that phone and pick up a book. JJ, what about you? How do you deal with social media on a personal level?
On a personal level, like for me, it would be, it's probably good. It's good to kind of throw your image out there, let the fans know who you are, know who you are on the field as much as off the field. I think it's great to kind of get you closer in that aspect. But again, it's like your main priority is to go out there and perform and to compete. And that's got to be the number one. And then that stuff, social media wise, it has to come next. So, it's great. And, when you're younger, again, be careful, don't be posting stuff your grandma, wouldn't want it to see or be out there,
Right.
So just kind of be mature in that sense. And again, it's your brand. So like whatever you put on that social media page, that's what people think of you as. So, you gotta kind of be smart of that in that aspect and yeah, just kind of think it over.
Earlier in this conversation, you talked about how being in college was almost like having a full-time job. At what point in your career, JJ, did it go from playing baseball to being a kid and having fun to like, wow, this is a job? Do you remember when that light went off?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to mention that college is you're not playing every day. You're playing you're playing 3 games on the weekends and then like 1 game in the midweek. Whereas in professional baseball, you're literally once spring training's over with, 2 weeks to a month, however long it may be, you're playing literally every day. So like you're playing 162 game season. That's no joke. That's every single day. People are like, it's a lot different than college and youth or travel baseball where you just, I got 1 game this week. I can just cruise by.
Yeah.
No, it's every single day. And that's when it started to become a job. It's like, okay, I got to stay on top of my diet. I got to get good enough sleep, and I got to hit the weight room to stay healthy, and I got to just have that routine to where when I show up, regardless of where I'm at, regardless of where I'm traveling to, this is what I got to do to get ready for a baseball game. Everyone's different. Everyone does their own thing, but that's when it started to become that job of it's every single day. You got to show up and you got to be a pro.
Without getting into specifics, what does a JJ Bleday day look like? What time do you start in the morning, and what time are you done at night? I mean, don't have to be specific. Just give me a time to time.
Yeah. So like an in season day, I'll usually head to the field around like 11:30, 12:30 ish, and I won't be done till like 11 o'clock at night to even midnight sometimes.
Yeah. Adam, what about you as a pitching instructor now? What's a day look like for you, starting in the morning and ending at night?
Pretty similar. If we're playing a game at 7 p.m., we usually get there around 12, and we'll do all of our 11 or 12 and play the game probably about 11 to 11, I would say. They're long days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know people that look at a baseball player, and I was guilty of it when I was younger, not so much now that I'm a little bit older, but I'm like, oh my God, that's such a great life. I mean, all they got to do is play one game a day, and then they've got the rest of the time to themselves, and they can just do whatever they want, and they can go out into town in Miami and party and do all, and it's not the way it is it?
No, it's not. It's definitely not. You gotta, as soon as you think you got things figured out, you don't. And you gotta stay on top of yourself, and you gotta stay disciplined, because as soon as you lose that focus of, oh, I'm good, and I can go party or get away with this once you lose that time management, that's when kind of the wheels start falling off the train, and you're going to struggle even more.
Adam, I'll start you with this next question. Were you ever tempted to turn pro and bypass college?
No, not out of high school, but out of junior college, I had some opportunities, and it it definitely crossed my mind. However, I had been committed to Penn out of junior college, so there was a level of commitment to that school just because I really valued my education, and it was an Ivy League school, so I wanted to get that degree. But I didn't have any pressure out of high school. Out of JUCO, I did.
JJ, what about you?
When I got to like my senior year, I think I played for the Padres scout team, and it was either the junior or the senior fall where I played in like a PG event or something, and that's where all those scouts come in. That's where like all the draft picks are, and it crossed my mind, but I had a set number of what it would take to forego an education, start an education at Vanderbilt University. And if I wasn't allotted that number or that slot or whatever it was, I wasn't going to go. I was going to take my time and spend my time in college and start my career there.
And so that's something that you kind of discuss with the pro scouts. They kind of know this, like, hey, I need X or I'm going to go to school.
Exactly. I mean, and they can kind of feel it out too. And like for me personally, like I think I needed to develop a little bit more, and like I just wanted to kind of just start an education and get that feel. And they know, if you communicate with them and let them know, uh, you know, they'll, they'll be honest with you. They're not gonna do anything.
Well, let's fast forward to draft day. Draft day 2019. Did you know um what that was going to be like? Did you have an idea? Did you know maybe go first, second, third, sixth, ninth? Did you have any idea?
I had no idea where I was gonna go, but I had an idea of what it was like. My freshman year, Kyle Wright went sixth or seventh overall to the Braves, and I was at his draft party, so I was able to experience that. And then the year after, my buddy Connor. So I knew what it would be like. But once that day comes, man, as a player and as a junior, a draft eligible junior, it's stressful. It's you get the nerves in your stomach when you wake up. You're
Yeah.
like, wow, today's the day. Today's a life-changing day. But I knew at the time, I'm like, hey, I put myself in the best position possible. Whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna go, give everything I got for whatever team drafts me.
Adam, let's go to your draft day, 2017. You went a little bit later in the rounds than what your brother did. What was that day like?
Well, the first day of the draft, I watched the first 3 rounds. The second day, I didn't think I would have a shot of going 3 through 10. So the third day rolls around and they do 30 rounds or however, maybe, 30 rounds that day. I was kind of getting frustrated just watching the board on my phone. So I went to the driving range, hit some golf balls, and sure enough, my agent called me and was like, "Congrats, you're an Astro." So I was happy.
Little bit different story than your brother.
Yeah, because I didn't think I was going to get drafted, and then sure enough, the Astros took a chance on me, and had a really good pro ball experience being with that organization.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, JJ, first hit major league. Do you know who you got it off of?
Shoot, no, I don't remember the hit, but I remember the home run. It was off a righty cutter guy
Who
for
did you
Pittsburgh Pirates.
who did you hit the home run off of?
Luis Castillo. His
That's correct.
his last homer given as a red.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
Your first hit was off Mitch Keller.
Mitch Keller. That's right. Yeah, I need to know that. Yeah.
What right now, guys, we're gonna wrap this up here. I appreciate you guys being here, but before we go, we're gonna do a segment that we call the Hard 90, which is basically just 90 seconds to answer these questions that I'm gonna throw at you, and you just give me a short yes no answer, or as short as possible as you can. All right.
Sounds good.
Adam, we'll start with you. Hot dog, mustard or ketchup, or both?
Ketchup.
Ketchup. JJ, same to you.
Mustard.
Mustard. How can you put ketchup on a hot dog, Adam? That's not even right.
I usually don't put either.
Oh, either or neither. Barry Bonds, Hall of Fame? Yes, no. JJ?
No.
Adam?
Yes.
What was a youth team? We'll go back to youth days. What was a youth team that you look forward to playing or you had trouble against? Adam, we'll start with you.
Ooh. Say Houston Banditos or East Cobb Astros.
JJ?
Toledo Mud Hens when I was really little. We'd always have some competitive games.
Oh, I remember that. Group.
Yeah.
Grass or turf? JJ?
Grass.
Adam?
Grass.
What give me a couple of songs that I would find on your playlist. JJ?
Ooh, geez, how about just artists? Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin,
Okay. Sure.
and some Bob Marley.
Oh, you're old school.
Yeah.
You're old school. Adam?
So I've been on a Tyler Childers kick and Fleetwood Mac. And
Wow.
Janis Joplin. I love her.
Look at the old school stuff coming out in you guys. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Growing up, Adam, who was your favorite player?
Oh man. That's tough. Growing up, I'd say Kenny Lofton.
JJ?
I'd say Griffey Jr. or Robbie Cano. Those two guys.
Griffey had the best left-handed swing you've ever seen in your entire life.
Beautiful.
That was incredible. Cell phone, Apple, Samsung?
Apple.
Apple.
That was quick. Shift or no shift?
No shift.
Oh shit.
You've got one seat at the dinner table. You can invite anybody you want, past or present. Adam, who do you invite?
Gosh. JJ, you go.
All right, we'll go to JJ.
You know what? I'll do Gandhi.
Gandhi. That's deep. Adam?
Yeah.
Mickey Mantle.
That's a good one. Should 12-year-olds be radared with a radar gun?
No. Only if you throw hard, I guess, or if you think 12-year-old does throw hard.
No, but I think all the 12-year-olds want to be radared.
That's a good answer. They definitely do want to be radared. Let's see here. Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas Eve.
Adam?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve families. Who's going to win the national championship in football this year? JJ.
Oh, I'm gonna go Georgia.
Georgia. Adam?
I haven't really been watching, so I guess I'll have to say Georgia as well.
Oh, okay. This is the last one, guys. Have you guys ever, and we know that JJ is a professional for the Marlins as an outfielder. We know Adam, he come up through the pros of Houston as a pitcher. Have you guys ever faced off against one another?
One time, it was at a Padres showcase in Georgia, I believe. I wasn't supposed to face Adam, but they popped me in there, and I don't know. I think I got a little jam shot off Adam, right, or something like that. Adam can explain.
Yeah.
Right.
Chair just fell. Yeah, it was a Padres tryout, and I think I worked a 3-2, or he worked a 3-2 count, and I threw a changeup to a lefty, which I never did then, and he hit a little chip beater over the second.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. JJ Bleday, outfielder for the Miami Marlins. Adam Bleday, pitching instructor now in the Baltimore Orioles organization. Guys, thank you for your time. Enjoy your rest of your year that's short here in the December, and good luck next year with both of you guys' careers.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.